Welcome. Welcome everyone to the second edition of the 24-hour Worldwide Design Conversation. We are S.Gramegna, and next to me there is Mariana Ciancia.
Hi.
And Hi Mariana. And we are the marathon curators of this new edition, along with all the working groups which have made, of course, this event possible. The organization team, the communication team, all the people involved from the POLIMI Design System, both from the design department, the School of Design, and the POLI.design consortium. It's really a great pleasure for all of us to have the opportunity to, let's say, pick up the baton from the previous edition, taking care and developing this new edition, which is entitled No Designer is an Island, Logbook for Sailing the Future. Also this year, of course, the international network of POLIMI Design System has been involved in total through the researchers, the practitioners, the designers, and the alumni. We would like to start a sort of fast and dynamic discussion dedicated to the culture of project, and a discussion oriented towards a reflection on design changes after lockdown. This is why, according to this, we moved from the idea of having a wordbook that we developed last year to the one of a logbook for future designers.
Okay, and why we decided to do that is that because you can say that the pandemic that the whole world has been facing has highlighted some of the fragilities of the society. And so from a system of values that we took for granted and has brought to the surface limitation in the economic system to, for example, new paradigms and unexpected energies we did not dare to put into practice before. And that's why as our title states, no designer is an island. This is a kind of motto of this year edition. Why? Because different challenges and initiatives are trying to explore this theme, actually, such as, for example, the new European Bauhaus launched by the European community that is trying to shape a collaborative movement of designers to rethink and replan promising practices for our future. And that's why let's say that we'd like to follow in this direction, and we'd like to contribute to shaping this movement all together, giving voice to the new generation of designers and researchers that can and must play a leading role in the current transformation. And so, since, as Silvia was said, we wanted to open a really worldwide debate, all the conversation that we are going to listening in this 24-hour marathon will revolve around the concept of what does it mean to design in an era of uncertainty. So we'd like to discuss with all of you about the role, the conditions, and the future expectancies of young designers and researchers. And that's why we asked to our international guests, which are 48 millennials designers, practitioners, academics, to reflect around three main clusters that we are going to introduce. The first one is the new designer's condition. So what does it mean nowadays to design? What are the situation? What are the places also of the design practice? The second cluster is the exploration of the research fields. New one, old one, revised one, and so on. And the third one is the understanding of the design practice.
So how we try to engage our 48 millennials. We asked to each one of them to send us a sort of a short statement that you can find on the website page of our event. And it is meant to be a sort of short statement addressing the sailors of the future, so the new generation of designers and researchers that are facing this sea of design. All the takeaways that we received, completely different one to the other, picking some different topics and very interesting that you will discover next in these 24-hour conversations. They will create a logbook, a sort of collection of suggestions for this new design era that we are facing. All of them, of course, will be discussed during the 24-hour broadcast event, the 24-hour Worldwide Design Conversation, that will accompany us sailing in this sea of design altogether. The logbook is meant to a sort of collection of notes on safe harbors, on new frontiers, and on the tools to tackle them. So in short, we would like to trace a sort of way forward to navigate in this era of enormous uncertainties, but also of enormous opportunities, I have to say. So the idea is to build this logbook all together with all the guests and all the hosts involved in the conversations. It will map out all the connections between the designers and the researchers, the meeting point between the sailors, but also their different views, point of views and impulses for the future. Of course, also the doubts. As we are in an era of uncertainty, of course, we are also a bit doubtful, but hopefully we will also collect a lot of expectations and bright things for the future of this transformation area. So now I would like to introduce our first three special guests that are Professor Alessandro Deserti, the head of the Department of Politecnico di Milano, the Department of Design. Welcome.
Nice to be here with you.
Thank you very much for being here this morning. Our second special guest is Professor Luisa Collina, the Dean of the School of Design of Politecnico di Milano.
Hello,
Welcome,
good
Luisa.
morning. Good morning to everybody.
Good morning, Luisa. And the third one is Professor Matteo Ingaramo, the CEO of POLI.design, a consortium company founded by Politecnico di Milano.
So we'd like to ask Professor Deserti if we can just share with us what's your opinion regarding this uncertainty period of designing and researching and doing a lot of different stuff all together.
Well, Mariana, let me first say that I'm happy to be here with you, and that the Department of Design, together with the School of Design and the POLI.design Consortium, is definitely happy to host this event, the second edition of this very interesting, nice and warming event. As you might already know, we are kind of a complex system where we have the Department of Design, which is focused on research, the School of Design, which is taking care of education and training of our students, and the POLI.design Consortium that takes care of continuous education. So we work closely together, and actually we are here together to kick off this event, bringing in our different perspectives. As for the department, I have to say that this is a fairly large community, because we are about 300 people, if we include professors and researchers, postdoc students, PhD students, plus technical staff and administrative staff. So a fairly large community, which I would say still felt a little bit isolated, at least individually, even though we have been extensively using quite powerful means for distant communication. Of course, it makes a difference being all together in the same place, having the opportunity of really in-person, or having in-person meetings, and having these occasions of conversating at a distance, which is very good, but of course creates kind of a different situation. So I think the topic for this year is really the topic. We have felt a little bit isolated islands, as you say in the title of this event, and we have to look at the future with hope, of course. I remember that last year when we kicked off the first edition of this event, I have been speaking about inequalities because it was something that I was already foreseeing, the possibility that the pandemic that at the time was at the very beginning could possibly push forward an already high and growing level of inequalities. I think my talk was short but a little bit grim in a sense. While maybe today we have to try and look at the future, as I was saying, with confidence and with hope. We have been navigating together this troublesome period. We are sort of coming out of it, even though different places across the world are still in sort of different situation, and this is also a matter of inequality. In a certain way, but it's important to look at the future with hope. About the future, one interesting thing that I would like to add is that it is not only something we reflect about, but also a topic for research in the field of design. We are actually, in this very moment, discussing the establishment of kind of a think tank, which will be permanently established at the Department of Design, right to look at the future, try to interpret the future, try to sort of use forecasting methodologies and include, together with the forecasting methodologies, also the possibility to exploit the availability of data that we have today. So mixing qualitative and quantitative analysis of data. Not to predict the future, which is something we would we actually aim at from ancient times with little capacity indeed, but to sort of forecast in order to gain a position for backcasting. I mean, going forward to then look back at the present and inform the decisions that you take today, which is the real issue for designers in my perspective. You have to sort of construct scenarios for possible futures, environments in which you might be asked to draw decisions, and then you look back at the present and see if by doing this you are more capable of taking relevant decisions that matter, that you take today, but that condition the future.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we are ready. I mean, this is the time to start to look at the future finally. As Professor Deserti said, we see a sort of light at the end of the tunnel, definitely. And yes, I'm very happy to understand.
We are finally smiling.
Yeah, we see the land at the end of the sea, let's say.
Yes.
Thank you very much also for sharing with us the news that we will host a think tank, and that's great, and I'm looking forward to see the establishment and the results, really. Maybe Professor Collina would like to add also something according to these themes.
First of all, I wanted to say hello to everybody, and of course, I would like to thank you for all the great efforts in organizing this marathon, because we know that it seems something very short and with very with all this kind of conversation, but we all know all the work that there is behind this 24-hour event. Secondly, I would like to say hello to friends that are also not at Politecnico but far away in the world, because I think that really the format that we started last year was really based on the idea that no designer is an island. So we didn't want to, already last year, we didn't want to isolate our community of Politecnico in our own island, and as community we already were spread in our different homes, but we really wanted to create links with schools, universities, professionals, and friends, researchers all over the world. This has always been one strong pillar of our tradition of school design department and POLI.design consortium, and I think that we really wanted to demonstrate last year and this year again that for us it's important. It's we cannot avoid to be together with our extended international community, because not it's only because it's a pleasure first, and secondly because it's a way to exchange knowledge, to exchange best practices, to exchange also failures. We did a lot of mistakes in this year, and it was important not to keep them as a secret, but really to share them in order to learn from each other. So I think that this format, I would like that this could be one heritage important from this 2 years of pandemic, because it is really contemporary, and I think it can really bring us something important also for the future. Regarding the experience, just short, difficult to condense in a few minutes the experience of a dean of a school in this year. I have to say, after the first year in which there was the emergency, this was the key word of the first year of a pandemic. So we had a crisis unit together with the rector, all the other deans, and the managers of the university. At the beginning, almost every day, and then once a couple of days per week to face emergency. At a certain point, the rector decided, I'm fed up with emergency, I want to look to the future. I don't want to listen anymore to emergency, let's start to design our future. And so we started to think what we have learned and what we wanted to carry on in our future from this experience. And so we started with some pilots in design education, and we are starting to define new formats of design education that we are experimenting right now, and we want to experiment in the next academic year, in order really to use these 2 years as a way to grow and as a way to bring innovation in design education. Just a few titles, and then I leave the floor. One, it's about blended classrooms. We did it because we were obliged to do it, but now that we have the technologies, how we can use them in a new way in the future. We are speaking about collaborative classrooms, so how to do twins between POLIMI classes and international classes together, or how the School of Design can become a publisher, an editor, with all this recorded material that we have, how we can use it in a different way. How can we produce it in a better way, because a lot of videos are really not designed, again, due to emergency, and how we can use them in a more interesting way in the future.
That's great.
I hope to bring some
fingers
results
crossed.
next year in this 24-hour conversation of 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. You touched a very interesting point. For education was a very tough year, but now, I think we have learned, or hopefully we have learned something for the future, and we need to implement what we were used to have, in order to have a better educational environment and better educational possibilities. Absolutely. I would like to ask also to Professor Ingaramo if he wants to add something from the perspective of POLIDesign Consortium that is connected with education, but also with entrepreneurship somehow.
So thank you, Silvia. Good morning again to everybody. I'm very happy to be here with you and to say hello from POLIDesign. POLIDesign is the part of the design system that deals with continuous education, so more focused on, let's say, the follow-up of the learning experience. So it's the touch point with the professional world, with the companies, and in general with the constant reset, refresh, and reconfiguration of competencies of designers. So what we had from our point of view in this period, strange period of pandemic, was a very interesting overview and point of view about the reconfiguration that we expected about the design abilities and the design future of profession. What is interesting is that definitely it didn't happen what we expected, except of the strong change of the framework, changed the condition. It was all the conditions. There was the pandemic, the emergency was very, very evident. But finally, what came out very clear is that the uncertainty that is mentioned in this 24-hour scenario is the condition in which designers come out with their abilities. And in this sense, designers came out asking for being involved in that emergency with some educational process, with some solutions that they were proposing all over the world, 24 hours to the communities. Try to front, of course, the contingent situation, but also to go over that and propose a new future. But that's exactly what designers do normally, in normal conditions. So to front the uncertainty. So going to your metaphor, Silvia, I think that designers definitely never sail in safe harbors, but they are looking for open sea, to dark water, So that's the point. And fronting that means for them to not only to stress their abilities in creativity, but also to analyze and disfruit the context boundaries in a professional way. And that's the point about not only continuous education, of course, but also for research and institutional education, giving to designers the tools to front it and accept the challenge to go beyond the today and go for a future that could be better. And here again, we are confident with that. The design disciplines is about thinking about future. So I think it's not only my opinion, because I'm at the end of the process of the teaching, but listening to Alessandro and Luisa, I was hearing quite positive, not only analysis, but intentions for the futures, and how much I learned how much potential there is in this situation, in which the framework definitely pushed our society to go over, to change our mind. We have some regulations, we have some programs about sustainability, going through digital connections and going over the materiality, of our and the physical consistency of our society. That's something that we are going to reconfigure, of course. But let's say, if we are thinking about islands, my point is, when I was looking at the metaphor of that is the driver of these 24 hours, I was saying, are islands really something that are insulated from the rest, or they are a destination? Maybe they are a destination to go for or to start from. Okay, so in this case, I think the designers are in an island, maybe, of thinking that integrated, systemic, and holistic way of thinking could be the starting point for a sailing, for a long sailing that goes to the future. So islands to start from, and that's what our sensation that we get from our students in POLI Design that are professional looking for a future in which they want to be engaged, in which they wanted to express their abilities in order to change positively, to add something positive to our future. So just for ending my provoking, these 24 hours from my point of view, let's say that we started as a postgraduate school to deal with profession evolution of design. The evolution of our profession was and is still something that we deal with every day. Okay? But the point is that the professing, so transferring the knowledge that is an encoded knowledge, probably is not anymore the only way to express ourselves. Using the fashion could be more projecting, in the Latin sense, in which you eject something, so you send something to others in order to give not only messages but contributions that are creative but also skilled. And in this sense, the profession of designers, so our activity and our mindset, could be something that goes over the idea of being expert, but also being engaged and evolving our competencies every day. So in this sense, definitely what happened to us at POLI.design is that we shift definitely from the idea of teaching to an idea of maintenance of the competence and accepting the constant challenge of a change that is definitely what we look for. So nothing is certain. We are happy that it's uncertain, and we are going to work for this uncertainty, trying to add a positive change. So thank you very much, and I think that's a very good experience. Very proud to participate. I hope that it's a great day and night of
course,
of work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Professor Deserti,
yes.
Professor Collina, and Professor Ingaramo. Really, you gave a perspective from the research point of view, the educational point of view, and the postgraduate point of view, and this is exactly what we were seeking for in this. Of course, in the 24-hour design conversation, we would like to see, really, as you said, in dark seas. Of course, there are risks, but of course there are a lot of opportunities. And as we are designers, we are always looking for the best opportunity to risk ourselves, but to gain a lot of recognition and a lot of big objectives to be reached. So thank you very much to all our three special guests for the first conversation.
Thank you for this, and well, have a nice day and night.
We start with our 24-hour.
Thank you. Bye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.